Hey guys, welcome to That Game Show, the show that talks about all the stuff in the nerd world and all the stuff in between. I am your host, Chase Bunker. Joining me today, he is the half-Asian sensation. It's Curtis Coe.
Hello.
And he is now player 3. It's Daniel Clegg.
Hi, friends. How's it going?
Thank you guys very much for joining me on the panel, and thank you guys very much for watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, Screw Attack, Let's Play Society, or if you're actually listening to us on a podcast, thank you very much for making us a part of your day. Also, quick reminder, July 31st at the Tampa Bay Convention Center, we will be recording our own live show there at Tampa Bay Comic-Con. Check us out, 5:30, room... What room did we say? 20 or something? I don't know.
I think it was 20.
Yeah.
20.
TampaBayComicCon.com. Check it out. A lot of cool guests are going to be there. There's too many more, I can imagine. That sentence made no sense whatsoever. But there's a buttload of guests going to be there. It's going to be really awesome. Check it out. Check out the stores. And check us out as well, because we're actually kind of entertaining, maybe.
Hopefully.
A
little bit.
Our panel last year was entertaining. I will say
It was.
I'm still trying to get it uploaded. Like,
Jeez.
Well, the thing is, I didn't realize how big it was, but because the guy asked me, when are you gonna put it up? It's like, I'm trying to put it up. I had it uploaded, and it literally took like 28 hours for it to fully upload onto YouTube, but then it had to process, and the process after like a week didn't fully go through, and they're like, oh, it's never gonna go through, just delete it. And so I deleted that one, but I didn't delete the What the Flux panel. And What the Flux panel eventually, like a month later, got uploaded. And it's like, are you kidding me with this? And so that was kind of frustrating. I think somebody kept mentioning a program, so that will help me condense it. So hopefully that will be up soon, so you can kind of see what it's going to be like and a little bit more. Big weekend. I think that's pretty much an understatement. I went to Orlando City game.
Was there some kind of
a big? Oh yeah, no. It was a big event. Curtis had his birthday.
Oh right, that did happen.
Which, by the way, I didn't know this. You share the same birthday as Grant Kirkhope.
What? Who?
The guy that I interviewed, Banjo-Kazooie
my
composer.
Bad.
Gosh.
I'm sorry.
Yes, it was his birthday as well, and so we wished him a happy birthday.
I was eating and drinking too much this weekend.
Yes. Another big thing that happened, I went to an Orlando City soccer game. With us in America not really caring about soccer, I went to it, and it was nice seeing like the city like support it. But my big thing, and I probably should talk about this on that sports show whenever I make it. If I go to a sporting event, I'm standing. Whenever I go to a Magic game, I'm standing. Every time I go to a UCF game, I'm standing. But when I go to this game and I'm standing and trying to get all the support, and the people behind me are like, you need to sit down. And I literally, I look behind them and there's 5 seats. There are 5 empty seats next to them. And I'm just thinking like, okay, I'll just shift over to the side. And thinking maybe, look over to that side, there's empty seats. And that they would actually go and just sit over there and not mind my tall, skinny body. It's like common freaking sense, people. It wasn't a sold out crowd. It was just like, it was semi-full. But still, 5. Now, if it was just like...
Chase, these are my assigned seats. I'm assigned to this seat. I can't move.
That has never stopped any... Shoot, Curtis and I went to a Rays game like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the seats next to us, like, literally kept having, like, people would like come in, they would sit down, and then they would
2
just
seconds,
and then they'd leave, and they just leave.
It was really weird.
Well, also because they were losing 7-0 at that time, so people just half the stadium left.
They left like halfway through the game, right? And
yeah.
Then they started,
and
then that was so funny.
And then we actually caught up and won game 162, greatest game ever. But it's like it kind of baffles me. If there was just like if no seats were available, I would be more sympathetic. But no, come on, show some support. This isn't a UCF game where you can just go there just to get drunk. Like, that's all UCF football games are. I love the football team. School sucks. But I love the football team. But their fans literally get drunk 2 hours before game time, leave at halftime, get more plastered. Like, that's all that they are.
That's what sports are to some people, just an opportunity and an excuse.
Yeah. But I'll talk about that on that sports show whenever I feel like making it. All right, and I guess one other big event that happened Tampa Bay Comic Con is coming out in July 31st, and it's that big. You should go. Let's go. Okay, this seriously, San Diego Comic Con happened, and it was I almost want to say this was like really a big year, but I feel like we always say that every year.
I think this was a lesser year, to be honest.
It was chock full of movie trailers for sure, which
Yeah.
is awesome. But the lack of Marvel, I think, was fairly noticeable.
I noticed that too.
Yeah.
It was like it was mostly like DC popularity because you
great,
had.
which is
kind of
needed.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with that. But you had, Arrow had their panel along with Flash.
Yep.
Marvel,
Yes,
you had, Batman, Superman. You had Suicide Squad. I think the one Marvel I can think of was, I guess, Fantastic Four did something, but
Fantastic Four, and then the X-Men stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
along with
Daredevil is Marvel technically, so.
And
If it's
Deadpool.
not-
Did they talk about that at
Or-
all?
Is that what I said? What did I say?
No, and I said and Deadpool, but you said Daredevil.
Oh,
Yeah,
I meant-
Daredevil had a very minor thing there. I don't think they really were there either. I know we got the first shot of Jessica Jones there with Luke Cage,
Mhm.
but they had a very, very small presence there.
Right, I meant to say Deadpool. That's where we
Okay.
got.
Deadpool
Yeah,
was probably
Deadpool-
that was their big hitter for Marvel.
20th Century Fox was the people who had the only content there from Marvel.
Yeah.
Right. And the reviews coming out of that trailer,
Yeah.
which haven't been publicly released, but you can find it places.
You can find it.
Has
Yeah.
been very positive. Everyone's very
Oh, it's
happy
good.
with the
Oh,
tone,
yes.
the set, the visual. Ryan Reynolds is great, as everyone expected in that role. You guys have both seen the trailer.
Oh,
Yes.
I think I've watched that trailer 3 times.
Yeah,
At least.
That line, it looks like you made out with a topographical map of Utah or
Yes.
something.
Or
like
something
that.
like that. Yeah.
It was that is by far one of the most humorous lines. Just
It's so random. It's like
Wait.
how are you coming up with that? Like
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
for those that don't know, like Deadpool's face is all scarred and like mutated, so it's all messed up, and so the topographical maps are like it's kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see it. I think it's kind of funny, and it's a funny way of describing what he looks like.
let's
exactly.
also not forget the one dig, and it was a big dig. Make sure my suit's not green or animated. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
someone's pissed about Green Lantern.
They totally did that. I was surprised they made that comment too. That's a really big deal.
That's a
Yeah, it's
big
a little
dig.
pointed. For sure. What do you guys think about the tendency for some of these movie production companies to put out the official trailer after a leak, like we had with Suicide Squad? That trailer leaked at a Comic-Con on a phone, but now, as of this afternoon, it's out officially. Deadpool leaked out on a camera phone as well, but there has been no official release. What do you guys think about their tendency to really keep these things nailed down
Now,
away from the public eye?
here's a question. Okay, have they made efforts to take down that trailer, or is it just kind of out there
It's just kind of out
For
there.
Deadpool?
for Deadpool?
I'll check to see.
Check on
YouTube.
I have a theory about Deadpool.
All right, let's talk about the Deadpool trailer because we just kind of like unofficially transitioned into that,
Yeah,
so we'll go
yeah.
with that. I thought the Deadpool trailer was really cool. I thought it was very, very well written. Like it had some of like the same stuff from the
animated
animated concept. Yeah,
A couple almost shot by shot recreations.
Yeah.
They look better, but
Yeah.
yeah, and they adjusted like the lines a little bit. It's like, oh, he's got the right idea. He's wearing his brown pants, and that whole action sequence happened, and I love, of course, like everybody knows that Ryan Reynolds is gonna nail this, and I think it's gonna be like, it's gonna be a hard R, but I don't know if it's gonna be NC-17 because I can definitely picture them really pushing that line to where the first cut's probably gonna be NC-17.
There's probably going to be an unrated version of this movie.
Sure, I can
Yeah,
see that.
I could definitely see an unrated version.
I think R is fine though. You're already cutting out so much of your target demographic when you leave PG-13. If you want to appeal to the entire massive moviegoers, you go PG-13, right? Regardless of how violent it is.
Yeah.
They've decided not to do that here. I don't think you need to go NC-17. People are already going to know this is a raunchy movie, and that's what you want with this character, right?
Exactly.
I think Radar is going to be just fine.
All right, Curtis, what'd you think of Deadpool?
Oh, I loved it. I love the fact that Colossus is randomly in the thing. One of my favorite Marvel characters.
Yeah,
I want to know why he's in that movie, but I also like the scene where what is her name? The female
Negatonic,
character, Megatonic,
Teenage
teenage
assassin.
warhead.
teenage Warhead,
Oh, there
and
you go.
he's like, what? And I was like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
A little minor detail that I noticed and I really liked is they animated his eyes,
Yeah,
which is kind of a neat thing because he kind of just has these soulless looking white eyes,
White.
but in
Right. Yep.
the comics he kind of has these different expressions he makes with those eyes, and
Hmm.
there's a couple times in the trailer where he kind of winks at the camera at the
Right.
same time, kind of
yeah,
fourth wall
because
kind
he
of
breaks
stuff.
the fourth wall.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Exactly. That's what you want,
yeah.
though.
Yeah.
I love the line. By the way, this is just FYI. This is gonna get inappropriate for a second. When he just inhales the gun smoke, he goes, "Ugh, I'm touching myself tonight." It's like all these little things. Like there was so much in that. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, the cancer just spread to my brain, prostate, lungs. These are organs
Things
I
I
really
don't
need.
need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's like I'm pretty sure, like in the whole like Deadpool thing, like we're not gonna care about this story really as much. That's what it kind of sounded like. It was almost like a spoof of like, oh no, this cancer has spread to everywhere. I have
Oh.
yes cancer.
I mean, I kind of feel like it's going to be something that's a background thing. It's more going to be about putting him in situations that he can make fun of other movies, probably.
Yeah,
Sure.
So,
I wasn't expecting this to be an origin story, and it's looking like what it is, or at least part of the movie is
Yeah.
going to be an origin thing. I guess you want to do that. He's a more obscure character
yeah.
than your Spider-Man, who I don't know if you guys are aware of that origin story, but it's fairly well known publicly.
yeah.
Oh boy.
But
Which
but, I
origin
was- I
story? There's
wasn't
been like
expecting that.
three.
Which
but
which
they're all
of
the
the
same.
5 origin stories
Yeah.
are we talking about?
But they're all the same.
Are we
I wasn't
talking-
expecting it to be an origin story. Is my point.
Yeah.
And that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're getting to the point in the culture where you can get away with not doing an origin story for a lot of these characters.
Or
Hopefully
kind of-
they don't do that with Spider-Man coming up
Or kind
again.
of hint at it, I guess, is the right
Yeah.
way to do it. You can
Yeah,
kind of hint
exactly.
at it, and then people, if they're really interested, can look it up.
Right. I feel like people are very accepting of this is a superhero. He's got some powers. Okay.
Exactly.
Now
Yeah.
tell me a story about him. I don't need to know where he got them or
Mhm.
Yeah.
his entire backstory. But that's just me.
Yeah. Coming out 2016. I'm super excited for it. Which all these trailers that we're about to talk about, we're very very super excited for. But I think this one, I think I'm excited for it just because of the fact of like how raunchy it's going to be, and I feel like that's going to be like the nice comedic movie that we're all going to get, especially with how like the character essentially was just destroyed in X-Men Origins.
And
Yeah.
I just to point out, I mean, if this movie does well, I think this will be the moment where people can start thinking about doing more mature superhero movies
Yeah.
as well, and that would be kind of interesting if they took some characters and they're like, okay, let's make some R-rated stuff, you know?
Maybe another
Right.
Punisher.
Yeah.
Could be. And I think Guardians of the Galaxy in particular helped the cause of this movie because you took some really obscure characters
Yeah.
there, some really obscure characters,
Mhm.
and made a huge hit. And
Mhm.
Deadpool might be an A-lister in the comics, but he hasn't done so well in the movie so far. So I think the success of that movie and hopefully this one will really, you're absolutely right, push for some more obscure and less mainstream characters.
I think we've talked about this before. Like, Marvel took a big chance on Guardians, especially with like the whole concept of you have this guy from Earth, a giant tree, a raccoon, and a rejected Star Trek, green
Lady.
woman. Yeah, and so you put them all together. What do you get? The Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. And they actually made it happen. I think you're completely right, Clegg, in the fact that Marvel is taking a chance.
Yeah.
Marvel took a chance with that, and I think that's probably led to Deadpool's arrival. That or a whole massive outcry of people saying, hey, let's get us an actual Deadpool movie.
Let's
One of
also,
those two.
Right.
let's also remember that Deadpool's coming from 20th Century Fox, so Marvel actually has movie studios have absolutely no say over what they do with that character.
This is-
Right, for sure. But another studio can look at the success of
Yes.
a movie another
Absolutely.
studio made and realized we have similar material with a somewhat obscure character as well. Maybe we can pull off something. If they can do it, maybe we can too.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
Whereas if Guardians had tanked, I don't think we'd
Yeah.
be seeing this movie.
Yeah,
Or
you
Ant-Man.
probably wouldn't be. Yeah, you probably wouldn't be
Or
seeing. Well,
Ant-Man,
Ant-Man
right?
was being done.
Yeah,
like
but
regardless. But yeah, if Guardians tanked, you wouldn't see any of these more, not obscure, but like these lesser
Weird.
known. Yeah, these lesser known heroes. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
You like Ant-Man. I would classify as that
he's a weird hero.
he is a definite.
He's
weird
a B
hero.
or C list hero.
Ha!
That's
So-
that's
B.
an argument right
B.
there.
B.
He's an ant hero.
He's
no,
an
I'm
ant.
kidding. No, he was the original. He was an original Avenger. So I mean, you can't say he's a B-list hero because he's always
Right.
been there.
in the comics.
True. That's
Well,
fair.
let's face
But-
it. Like he doesn't hold water against like a Spider-Man, a Batman, a
Yeah,
Incredible
but-
Hulk.
But like he was really important. Like he's the guy who made Ultron. He is he is like one of the main cruxes. He's one of the earliest superheroes to go bad. I mean,
Yeah.
You're right, and if we look back far enough, Iron Man pre Marvel
movies.
pre movies was a B list
Oh yeah.
comic book character, and they turned him into the biggest superhero in that universe.
Yeah.
Right? He's
Absolutely.
We can thank John Favreau for that.
bigger than Spider-Man, arguably.
Yeah.
Right. So you're right.
Right.
It's it's been done before. What are you doing? Sorry, my cat.
That
Keep
darn
going.
cat.
Sorry.
All right.
Cat.
So we've talked enough about Deadpool. We'll go on to trailer number 2 that I at least saw at that time was Batman Superman, where you got to see more of Ben Affleck. You got to see, why is Ben Affleck angry? Is it because he's still mad about Pearl Harbor? No, he's mad because of what happened in Metropolis, and I guess he had a Wayne Tower in Metropolis because you saw it in the rubble. So
Yeah.
Right.
you got to see the hate that he's displaying. What did you guys think so far of trailer number 2 of Dawn of Justice?
Are they still
I'm-
keeping that tagline?
Yep.
God save them if they are.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Ugh.
But if it leads into the Justice League, then it makes sense.
I mean, they should just put it Batman v Superman. It's so hard to say. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
I don't think anyone's going to call it Dawn of Justice,
No.
though.
No.
It's Batman v Superman.
It's like Man of Steel. No one's calling it Man of Steel. They're just calling it the new
Sure,
Superman movie.
New Superman movie. That's fair.
Right. I'm way more excited about this movie now that I've seen this second trailer, right? Because I'm getting more of the tone, and I'm digging Ben Affleck more and more as Batman. I like the look of his character. I wish the one thing I noticed in the trailer was that Henry Cavill as Superman said nothing the entire trailer.
Yeah.
I think he had like 2 or 3 words, and I don't know. He always feels so stoic in his role as Superman, and that's not what the character is necessarily, at least not in the comic books, right?
Yeah.
He's
Well,
much more amiable and charismatic. So that feels weird to me.
Well, let's be honest here. I think I'm gonna be mean and say I think a lot of people are gonna come and watch this movie because of Batman, not because of Superman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
arguably.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna
No,
be
you're completely
mean,
right on
like,
that.
I think there's a huge following of Batman, and Superman's kind of, frankly, I'm gonna be mean again. kind of a
Boring character.
boring, guy from the Midwest who's almost invincible, and
Yeah.
but
But the story looks interesting.
yeah.
Right.
I think tonally it's very, very solid. I think that's one thing that they did really well is it all seems to be tonally correct for what they're trying to do.
Mhm.
I do like Batman, the way he looks. I'm a little confused about has he retired for a while? Is he just getting started? What is
It looks like he retired for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because,
Right.
I mean, you saw the bat suit. It looked like as if it was being unveiled again.
Yeah.
Which I'm
So
still
I'm-
kind of... Yeah, I'm sorry. You finish.
No, go ahead.
The one
Go
thing
ahead.
I'm kind of confused about is, like, when is Joker going to play a part of this? Because you saw in, one scene with, like, the spray paint, joke's on you.
Yeah.
Right. I have a
And-
feeling they won't make a connection until Suicide Squad's at the earliest, right? But probably even later than that.
So, and then the current theory with that suit is that's Robin's suit, and Robin is dead.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
I didn't think of
So
that. Yeah.
that is the current theory on what that suit is. Because if you look at it, like the I don't know what they call them, triangle blades or whatever he calls them,
Mhm.
are broken. The suit definitely doesn't look like a Batman suit because it stops about the neck, and
Mm,
it seems to have a cape. The coloration's a little different. And then
interesting.
context-wise, it would make a lot of sense why he would retire too.
Right. Well, we've been told that he's an older Batman. He's an
Yes.
angrier Batman because of what he's been
Yes.
exposed to. And based on the scene where we see him in his suit taking the tarp off of the bat signal,
Mhm.
either Gotham is in so much trouble that Batman needs to call Batman, or he's unveiling this thing after years of not using it.
And
Right?
and then I guess the other question is like they're saying like, oh, there's Batman characters running around taking people out. Well, I mean, if he was a thing already, then why are they saying that? There's some strange lines. I actually really like the trailer, just for reference.
I like the. Oh yeah, I like
I'm-
the trailer too. Like
I'm
There-
beating
there's
up
just
this
confusion.
trailer here, but I'm just a little confused about, they're like, oh, this guy's taking out people, blah 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 blah. It's like, well, if he retired, then you think someone would be like, oh yeah, I remember like 20 years ago this was happening.
There was a bat vigilante.
Bat-shaped
Named-
vigilante
named
guy.
Batman, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
so,
there's
I mean-
just a lot of questions about it,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
looks real good.
Wonder
The
Woman looks great.
Yeah.
yeah, for the 3 seconds we saw her, she looked
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
And-
she immediately quieted everybody. Like,
Yeah.
she didn't even say a line. Everybody was like, "Oh, I don't like this," but then they saw her and like, "Okay, I like this." Like, yeah, because you can't say
was one
anything.
of the detractors, and I say I'm sold. You got me.
I hope the next trailer, because there are gonna be more,
Oh yeah,
is a little more emphasizes
Explicit?
her well, it just emphasizes her character a little more
Yeah.
because I want to know more about what her role is in this whole thing.
yeah.
It's a good
And
question.
apparently,
Because-
like Aquaman's gonna be in this as well. So it's like, okay, let's like,
Really?
it's like, how are we going to bring in all these people? But I have a feeling it's gonna be with Aquaman. It's gonna be literally one scene, and it's the Justice League. Oh hey, I'm Aquaman. Cool.
I have a feeling
Maybe
it's
he's
going to
after
be-
the credits or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the credit sequence or whatever. The last sequence is going to have Aquaman. There's going to be Flash. There's going to be Green Lantern
Mm.
there. It's going to be the Cyborg. It's the whole Justice League.
Oh, that was
So,
another announcement that we didn't mention, Chase. The Green Lantern Corps movie
Yes,
was
Oh
announced.
okay.
they are making Green Lantern Corps, and apparently there's going to be multiple Green Lanterns from Earth.
Right?
Huh.
So it's not focused on one character, which I think I kind of like because we got that not so long ago. Right?
I think it's a good option because it can also. Here's what I feel like they're doing. They're like, so we're not sure which one of these Green Lanterns are going to work. So let's put all of them in there, and the one that people like the most is the one that's going to show up in the Justice League.
If you want the
be.
Black Green Lantern, text us at text Green Lantern Black to 21262
You know what I
right
mean?
now.
It just kind of seems like the first thing I saw that I was like, are they really? I feel like it's like this game of charades. It's like, okay, let's find out which one you like the most.
You know what? It's a smart move because it gives them options and it does a little more world building.
Yeah.
We got some of that with Guardians of the Galaxy where it was bigger than just our world, right? It was, galaxy wide. Maybe we get some of that in that movie and that would be interesting.
I'd be okay with that.
Introduces an intergalactic villain, perhaps.
Maybe, but it's like it's weird to have like an American Idol style, like, or America's Got Lanterns.
America's Got Lantern. I love
Um,
it. Oh, that's the new tagline for Green Lantern.
America's Got Lanterns.
Well, let's be honest. It's probably Britain's Got Lantern because all these actors.
Oh,
Oh,
come
guys,
from Britain
that's probably what it
nowadays.
originally came from.
That's
Was
true.
Britain, and then we made the
That's
American
true.
version, and it's a lot better.
So there is an interesting theory floating around the internet that Wonder Woman is fighting something. We don't see what she is fighting,
Okay.
but they kind of cut it to make it look like she was fighting Superman. The theory running around is she is not fighting Superman. She is fighting another villain.
Well, sure. I don't think the movie will be villainless because there has to be something
Yes.
that coordinates these characters together.
And
They
the
also
theory-
showed
Stay.
it could be Doomsday. I wouldn't mind Doomsday. Granted, they did show Zod.
But he's dead.
I mean, hold on. Superhero universe. Is he?
Fair enough. But
I
You're
don't think
telling
they
me
would
this like super alien can't take a nice crack to the neck? Come on.
yeah, well, he did break his neck though, so it's like
He's
saw back
faking it.
head or
Yeah, you know that whole debacle that happened after Man of Steel, where the internet exploded because of him killing Zod. We're just gonna undo that. He didn't actually kill him.
I wouldn't be
Actually,
surprised. I mean, would you be surprised if they did that? Granted, to be
I
fair,
think
Michael Shannon was amazing as Zod.
yes, he was.
Right.
So I wouldn't be too upset, but I'd be upset because like, come on, why can't people just die? And then, but the other side's like, but Michael Shannon is just so good.
Yeah.
I would feel like it's way too early for them to pull a "Hey, he's still alive." Just kidding.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
they did, I think everyone would be like, "Nope, done. Okay, done."
Or what they're gonna do is like they're gonna show the scene of like him being unzipped, and then like at the end of the credits, after all the Justice League's informed, this body bag's missing. Could he be alive? Find out on the next
I
episode
hope
of
they
Dragon
don't,
Ball
though.
Z.
I hope they don't though, because that action that he had to take
Yeah.
to end Zon really helps set the tone of
I
the
think-
DC cinematic
Yeah.
universe, where they're gonna go a little darker than Marvel. They're gonna ask some hard questions. You know, like when we see that a lot in this upcoming movie,
Yeah.
where he's going to court and answering for his supposed crimes. You know, it sets a darker tone, and I think it'd be silly if they undid that.
What did you think of Jesse Eisenberg?
I
Eisenluther. I'm still working on that name.
I think he's okay. I think it's a callback to Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. He had this weird wig and kind of colorful clothes. It reminded me a lot of Gene Hackman on the original Superman. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I am not sold on him yet.
Yeah,
I need to see more.
I'm not fully sold yet either. Especially like when he's like, the red capes are coming. The red capes are coming. Like that line is like.
That's. I think that's out of context though, and that's the
Sure.
issue. Is he's saying something, right?
Yeah.
But what did he say right before that?
Right,
Leading
so
up
long
to
for
the-
speech.
He
To the-
said
yeah.
something about like, you know what the biggest myth is?
I know, but
Governor?
you know what I mean?
Senator,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like it's still out of context.
Mhm.
And so I don't like the line either, but I feel like it will make a lot of sense if we hear his whole rant.
Yeah.
I
It
don't know.
almost feels like it's like he's trying to be like the Joker of Superman, where he's trying to be like borderline mentally insane.
Well, Lex Luthor sometimes rides that
Kind of
line.
is, right? Yeah, I think I want to see him in some more traditional Lex Luthor scenarios where he's ruthless and he's
Yes.
a businessman and he's really, really smart, but he will do whatever it takes to get his way.
Yeah.
And we're not really seeing that yet in this trailer. You know, he
That's-
seems like an outspoken individual who's speaking against Superman, but we don't really see what he's doing it for. Like, what's his game plan? How is he trying to up himself?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think we just need to see more.
I just wish they brought back Michael Rosenbaum. I would have loved to see. He was the Smallville.
Oh,
Lex Luthor.
oh, yeah, he was really good.
He
I really liked
was.
him as, oh gosh, I gotta talk about this. I want your opinion, you guys' opinion on this. What did you think about Ma Kent's speech?
Oh,
About
I loved it.
How he's like, but you don't owe them anything.
Because
Like,
she's technically right. It's like, you don't owe, like, Superman doesn't technically owe us anything because we didn't, like, pay him millions and millions of dollars to protect the Earth. Like, he
true.
saved us, and it's like, what are we paying? Like, okay, this is gonna be, like, the whole, like, if this was actually, like, a debate, like, on, like, the actual Superman movie, Superman technically doesn't really owe us anything because of the
True.
fact that, like, we didn't pay him. He's not employed. He saved us under his own goodwill. We can't really persecute him for his crimes. So that is my whole thing behind it. So Ma Kent is
That's one
technically
of the
right.
arguments. That's one of the arguments in the courtroom, I suppose.
Yeah.
Are you saying her performance annoyed you, or the message behind it?
The message behind it I thought was a little weird. Because he's supposed to be this symbol for hope, and it seems like both Pa Kent in the first movie and Ma Kent in the second movie are basically saying, you don't have to be the symbol of hope. You can just, go away and then nobody cares.
But it's also like a
Right.
sign of like, hey, we're not pressuring you to do this. We want you to do this
Yeah.
on your own.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that's what it is. He goes beyond that, and he wants to do this. He doesn't
Yeah.
have to, but he
That's
chooses to. He wishes to do this because he knows it's the right thing, and because he does care.
Yeah.
And that is a testament to his character.
And I
right?
think maybe it might be one of those things where they're trying to humanize him a little bit more as well,
Right.
make him more of this character that his parents basically his entire life said don't stand out, and and what's the first thing he does?
Hi.
Yeah, exactly. Superman.
Are these tights tight enough? Yeah.
Oh,
Good.
oh, oh. Anyways, so I was just curious what you guys thought about that.
I like your
Yeah,
Hank Hill like.
I didn't think
Whoa!
Oh,
I'm
no,
trying to think of like the proper term.
my my biggest concern about this movie is I really hope they're not doing Wonder Woman as a love interest. It's rumored. I really don't want it to happen.
Is there ever a love triangle between Wonder Woman
Yeah,
and
she is with Superman in the New 52, I think, and she was with Batman, kind of in like Justice League and that kind of stuff.
right.
I don't want that.
I don't want
think
it
it's
either.
a disservice to her character, and I just don't want it.
Right, to tie her to a man, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's good in her own right. Just
Right.
Yeah.
I want to know how they're going to be doing the fight sequence. This
Yeah.
has been the eternal debate: Batman versus Superman. Who could take who? Right.
Yeah.
He's smarter. He's stronger. Who's going to do what? And we see a little snippet of it in the trailer. I'm just curious. After seeing Superman fight Zod and destroy 2 cities, right? How can he not just wipe Batman on the street?
Well, I feel
right?
like to go into that point, like I feel like this is essentially like the Mayweather Pacquiao fight that we've all really wanted for a very, very, very
It's
long
been-
time.
And it's been hyped up.
But
right?
I don't want it to actually be Mayweather Pacquiao where it's been hyped forever and ever and ever, and then we just get
And it can only disappoint, right?
Yeah, at this
I-
point, it's like it can only disappoint. It's like I have faith in Zack Snyder because he's made so many good movies. Like I know that he's gonna make this action
Yeah.
sequence the best because everybody knows that this is the big moment. This is what we've all been waiting for.
I will put money down. It's going to be a tie. I would
It
almost
probably
bet
will be.
Sure.
like it's going to tie out because if it doesn't, people are going to. I mean, I think like right when they're getting done fighting is going to be when whatever threat comes out.
Let's go back to the
Yeah.
theory. Let's go back to the theory that it's Doomsday. That's who
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's fighting. It's probably going to be one of them's about to land a quote killing blow that no one's officially going to announce or officially going to have, and then Doomsday comes and they're like, we should probably take that out. 3-hour truce? Can we have our tank back? You strike a hard bargain. Okay, deal. Tank Man reference. But yes, I have a feeling it's going to be something along those lines.
Yeah. Where
Or Thor fighting Captain America,
Yes.
fighting Iron Man, right? Nothing really happened there. Maybe it's our 3, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman fighting each other until something like Chase is saying occurs,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden we have to
Makes
change our
sense.
direction.
Let's also not forget that Lex Luthor also could be making that like Lex Luthor Death Machine or whatever suit
That's
he
true,
calls
too.
that. So we'll see.
Did you notice visually when you saw Batman flying through the air? He posed for just a second. That was the exact
Yeah.
cover art of the Dark Knight.
yeah,
That was
Mhm.
really cool.
it's lots of
If you
really.
haven't- If you haven't seen it, look at the cover of the Dark Knight where Batman
Mm-hmm.
is like silhouetted with a lightning bolt and flying through the air, and then watch the trailer and you'll see it's like an exact recreation. Just
Yeah.
a cool fan
It's a
service thing.
bulkier Batman suit, but I like it. Like it like the whole mech look for it because like it shows that he's taken some age on this, but so he needs bigger and bulkier to help sustain it, and it's perfect.
Especially fight Superman. I mean,
Yeah.
if you fight Superman, you better come prepared to fight
You better
Superman,
go-
right?
All right, another trailer that was released. Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Have you guys watched it?
No,
No.
It's
What is this?
creepy.
it's
It's-
a horror game.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do horror.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope.
Next.
Oh, like no, like before, like they took it at the pizza shop. Now it's at your own homes. Like the guy's trying to sleep, but I hear something, and it's like all this stuff's moving. It's creepy. All right, so the trailer, next trailer, the one that we've been very critical of for every single image, every single thing leaked. We finally get to see a Suicide Squad trailer where it showed, Deadshot talking. You got to see a little bit more Harley Quinn. You get to see Amanda Waller. Is that right? Waller? Okay, 'cause
You're
I feel like I always butcher that name. And of course, The one part that I've watched the trailer 5 times. I've watched the last 10 seconds at least 20 times. The one little scene with Joker. You saw a little bit of the Batmobile. You got to see like a little bit of more like dialogue between people, but holy crap, the last 10 seconds I feel like were the best. Just because one, I'm a huge 30 Seconds to Mars fan. Two, I feel like you got to see him make his own little Joker, like make his own role for the Joker. And then three, I mean, come on, it's Joker. Come on. So, guys, what did you think of Suicide Squad trailer? I'll start with the Clegg.
I really dug it. I'm liking this one more and more the more I see, just like Batman. I was really worried about the tone of this thing when it's focusing on villains. It's a weird direction to be going, but I'm hoping this leads to more of these same characters being repeated as characters in future movies, right? Because we're really getting to know them, it looks like. Especially, the obvious ones like Harley Quinn and Joker and Deadshot and whatnot. So I really dug the look of the trailer, and I think they did some interesting things with mentality. Like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn looks crazy and acts cray cray, right? And Killer Croc, was it?
Yeah.
Right. He looks intimidating. Like they did a lot of things
looks better
to give you the character of these guys, both in how they look and how they act. Like they look demented for sure.
Yeah. Curtis?
You know what? I'm on the other page. I didn't really like it.
No?
There was the little parts of it that I think the first part is there was a lot of Deadshot in this trailer.
Yes.
Like
Well,
a lot of Deadshot in this trailer.
You know why?
No, I know why, because it's Will Smith, and
He's the highest paid actor. Yeah.
He's probably the highest paid actor there, and I understand that. But it puts into my question, at least, is he like the main character of this movie? Which wouldn't be bad, but it was just an interesting like little bit. I did like Harley Quinn. I liked her scenes. I thought her scenes were fine. I did not dig Killer Croc. I still think he looks like a gargoyle.
I was going with the more Goomba from the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, he doesn't look right to me. And then there's some other scenes with like some other characters I thought were okay, but I was more confused than actually understanding what was happening.
Right, the plot is very obscure.
Yes,
still.
the plot's still very obscure.
And the other part is there's some heroes that are in the Suicide Squad, and I'm a little confused why there's some heroes in the Suicide Squad.
Right, like you saw Batman for a cool 3 seconds.
Well, and even there's this girl in there called I think her character's name is Katana. And she's actually a hero. And there's a couple guys who are like kind of on the fence where they're kind of heroes. So I'm a little confused. What did they do? Why are they there? I dug parts of it. I'm still concerned, and I think this, although it has really good moments, and I think Harley Quinn will be the highlight of this movie by far. And with Joker, aesthetically, I don't like it. The acting was great. Okay, I don't have anything against the acting. I thought the acting was good. He kind of had this really good mannerism to him that was really Joker-esque to me, but the aesthetic just kept on almost dragging me out of the moment. The tattoos and the metal teeth.
I agree with that specifically, and I think it's because we are so used to either the Mark Hamill Joker we've grown used to in the video games and in the animated series, or the Joker we saw in Dark Knight.
That's true, and
that's just been ingrained in us for the last 15 years.
And to be fair, I am much more interested in it now than I was initially. But there's still parts of it I'm kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not as excited as Batman v Superman. Batman has me on board. This one,
There's still some things that I'm kind of questioning. One of them is, can Will Smith actually be a bad guy? That's the one thing. That's one of my big things.
He's going to... Go ahead.
Go ahead, Clegg.
Yeah, you were...
I thought you were going, but yes, I agree. Although it looks like they're trying to humanize him a little bit, so he could be a likable villain, because we saw him with a couple kids, right? where he was embracing them. So maybe he's a father who's trying to do right by his family or something. So maybe they're going to try to build on the natural Will Smith charisma and make him an likable-ish villain.
Yeah,
you know?
That's kind of Deadshot's background anyway. So
and then you have like Killer Croc. He doesn't look all that menacing yet. I know that they put him in like the little Hannibal face muzzle thing, but I mean, he still like kind of looks like a Goomba.
Yeah, he does.
There's a whole bunch of other. I'm glad that they showed El Diablo, and I thought he actually looked incredible. Though I'm not a fan of the Letterman jacket, but I think that's also part of his costume in general.
Yeah,
Margot Robbie, I think, did a great job. I'm blanking on her name right now. Amanda Waller's character.
Oh, the Viola Davis.
There you go, Viola Davis. I thought she was really good. I like the whole line of like, but they're bad guys, but making people go up against their will is what I paid to do or whatever. It's like perfect, awesome. But yeah, it's just like there's little things here and there. It's like, how are you going to incorporate Batman? So this is now going to be tied in with Batman, Superman. Technically, like it's. There's a lot of like questions behind it. Like, I'm not fully sold. I'm excited, but I'm not fully sold. And I think that at least showing more Jared Leto in that trailer, it made me happy because I thought it was probably like the best way to end that trailer. That was literally the equivalent to Chewie, we're home. Like, it had no purpose, but it was just good enough to get me excited.
Well, I think it did have a purpose in that people have seen images of him in costume with the tattoos and the teeth, and everyone reacted, "This is really weird. This is really different.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?" But seeing him convey the character, seeing his mannerisms, hearing his voice and his take on the laugh, I think that did a lot for him. It's still a big change from what we're used to, but that's kind of what DC is doing with the movies. They're taking a couple characters in some different directions than what we're used to,
and I think that's good.
Right, yeah, you kind of have to, because we can't have Mark Hamill doing the voice of the Joker for the movies. It wouldn't work.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he can't do it forever, unfortunately.
Exactly. You have to be able to be fluid with your characters. So eventually you got to make a clean break and do something different.
Yeah. One last thing, unless, like, did you have anything you want to add to Suicide Squad?
We'll see it opening weekend for sure. It's just unsure on this one.
I think I'll wait for the reviews, to be honest.
Yeah. And then Comic-Con did one last thing for Hugh Jackman for, I guess, X-Men Apocalypse is going to be his final one, or is there going to be another Wolverine movie?
He's going to it's rumored that he probably will not be in X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men, whatever they're calling it. Is it Apocalypse?
I think it's Apocalypse right now.
Apocalypse.
Okay. He will have his own Wolverine film, and that will be the last of his character and of him playing the character.
I think that's a better way to do it. The second one was so good, the last one.
It is going to be Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay.
That's going to be a really interesting, because if it's a storyline that people think that basically the villains have won, and he's kind of living a normal life, and then they jump him, and then he goes crazy and starts killing lots of people.
Interesting.
It's kind of an interesting end to that character. So we'll see if that's what they're looking at doing.
Yeah, they at least like said a nice farewell to him. And one of the things that I was like thinking about it for a second, it's like it's gonna be really hard to see another person play Wolverine, because I mean he's probably played that role for like at least 15 years.
I'll look up when the original came out.
I want to say,
but yeah, long time.
Yeah. Hold on, Clegg. Let's take a guess real quick as to when. X-Men came out.
I would say 12 years.
I want to say 2002 it came out. So you say about 12, 13 years maybe.
You were both wrong, and came out in 2000.
2000. So yeah, 15 years.
The original X-Men movie came out in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't think it was actually going to be 15 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time to really own a role. And you're absolutely right. It would be hard to envision someone else playing that character, because when you think Wolverine, his face just comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like when Marvel drafted the character art for Nick Fury to look like Samuel L. Jackson. So those two people are just tied together in your mind,
Yeah. All right.
Like they're synonymous.
Yeah. All right. It is now game time. Curtis, I believe you have We're doing Name That Game, but you have the game.
We are. So I am currently. I don't remember. Did you guys guess the last one I did? Did you guys
Yes,
get it?
but we
You
also had
did.
to do a very big.
Big hint.
Yeah.
So we are going to try another one. This is a well-known game.
Okay.
This is as well known as Guitar Hero is. You guys should know this game. And we will begin.
Jace, why don't you get started?
All right, let's find the
This-
generation.
We're just going to make it free for all 20 questions.
All right. Did this come out in the Xbox 360, PS3, Nintendo Wii era?
No.
Okay.
Did it come out before that?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
that's broad as heck. In 64 PlayStation era?
No.
This is either okay, so it's pre 2000.
Is that a question?
No, it's a statement. This has to be pre 2000 because that's when it's not in the N64 PlayStation era. Wait,
It is not. It is not in that area.
it's not. We decided it's not in that era. It is not
It's
in
not
the
in the 360.
and we said it is not current gen.
We didn't
or
ask that yet.
previous gen of.
Well, no. What
Okay.
did you ask, Clegg? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, is it before? And he said yes. So
Yes,
it's
so
an
it's
earlier system.
let me recap what has been said. It is not in the PS3, Xbox 360 era. It is before that era, and it is not in the N64 PlayStation era.
Okay. Is this a Nintendo console game?
Rephrase.
Did this game come out originally on the Nintendo platform?
No.
Is this an exclusive?
No.
Okay. Was this a Sega game originally?
No,
No.
it's
Okay.
dang it.
Then that means it's going to be PlayStation 2 or Xbox original, I think, Chase.
It's
Yeah.
Because if it's not on Nintendo and it's not
Don't-
on Sega,
don't let that catch you up.
What other
We
systems
might
are
as well
there?
ask if this is actually, if it's in PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube era, because it's either that or it's in Super NES, NES.
Mhm.
So it's a very broad thing. So, is it? What should we guess on?
I think you go later, so you go PS2 and
Is it in the PS2, Xbox, GameCube era?
No.
okay, so it's Jesus, an old game then.
Do we say it was
Okay.
do we say it was on the Super Nintendo?
It was not exclusive to the
It was
Super
not
Nintendo.
exclusive to the Super Nintendo.
Okay, so this is a game that came out on both the Nintendo and Sega platform. Because what else was there? There wasn't anything else back then. This is before Xbox original. This is before the PlayStation original. So
By
we
the
had
way,
Sega Genesis or Saturn.
When we say those eras, we also include Sega Saturn and Dreamcast.
That's not on those.
Okay, making sure.
You're getting caught up though. I'll give that hint. You're getting caught up on. You're thinking too much.
Well, we gotta
About-
find the era first.
Okay, is this a platformer?
No.
Maybe this will help us. It's not a platformer. Okay. And we're in early Nintendo era, at least, Chase.
Yeah. So we said it wasn't this gen with PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. We said it wasn't 360. We said
You have covered the spectrum up to the point where it's pre N64.
Mm-hmm.
N64 PlayStation.
Okay, Chase. Maybe it's not on a console at all. Maybe it's a PC game or a mobile game, like a Game Boy or something.
Yeah, it could be.
Is this not on a console, Curtis?
It is not on the console.
Okay, all right. So
So that limits us to
It's either Game Boy or PC, right? Whatever
Wait,
handhelds were there back then.
Wait, I gotta realize our question was, did this game come out? Wait, how did we phrase that question?
Which question?
It's not exclusive to a
No,
Nintendo
no, no, no,
platform.
no. Did this game come out? Do we say this game come out on the Xbox generation, or did we say is it in that generation? Because there's a
I'm not going to.
We were asking about time period.
You were
Okay.
asking about time period.
Okay.
I'm not going to be a lawyer like that.
Okay. Good. I didn't want you.
That would
I didn't
be
want
a-
you to
that
use
would
your
be-
law school antics on this.
That would be a jerk rule on my part.
Yeah. Okay.
Is this a PC game?
Yes.
Okay, so we're on the computer.
It is.
Chase.
It is well known for being a PC game.
That took us a long time to
Yeah,
get
dude,
there.
that took us 10 questions.
You are now at 10 questions.
That should be our opener.
Oh,
because
wait,
that's
well-known
either console
PC
or
game.
PC.
Wait, it's a well-known PC game, which means it could be StarCraft.
Or Warcraft. Those are the two big ones that come to mind immediately.
Because knowing Curtis, did Black and White come out on console?
That's such an obscure game. I would never
Okay.
ask that.
Really?
Okay,
Black
so
and
maybe-
White's obscure?
maybe-
Black and White is kind of obscure.
Is it?
Maybe we go for developer, Chase. Try to figure out who made it.
That's a.
There were only
that's a
there were only
tough.
big names back there.
That's a tough.
Is it a Blizzard game?
No.
Okay, well, it's
Okay,
not
so-
StarCraft.
That cuts out a couple.
Did Blizzard actually
um,
do StarCraft 64, or is that like?
I think they ported it, but
Okay.
it didn't matter.
Okay, so it's all right. Maybe we get the genre. It's not a platformer, which wouldn't make sense on PC back then anyway. Is this a shooter?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go through some shooters, Chase. We got Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem, Wolfenstein, Doom,
Yeah.
Medal of Honor.
When did Medal of Honor 1 come out?
99? No, 99 maybe.
Now, for reference, I need to. What are you guys doing here? Are you going to ask me questions, or
No, we're
Yeah.
just thinking
We're
of
thinking out
shooters.
loud.
I'm just making sure I understand.
Okay. Maybe next, Chase, we get the time period of the game. It's futuristic. If it's modern times. If it's fantasy. Maybe that's not so useful because they're guns,
Yeah,
right?
'cause they're guns.
uh,
But like, does it take place in hell? Yes, then it's Doom. Does it take place
Sure.
in Nazi Germany? Yes, well it's Wolfenstein. So,
Uh-huh.
does it take? Are there pigs in it? Yes, then it's Duke Nukem. I have a feeling it's one of those three.
Okay, so let's get the location, maybe.
Just for reference, you guys are on like 12 questions. You could ask all three of those
Uh-huh.
questions and still have.
Is this game? Is the setting of this game realistic Earth? Meaning World
No.
War? Okay, it's not. So it's
No.
not realistic Earth. So maybe it's Doom, Chase. Maybe it's.
Does this game take place? Let me hold on. I'm gonna make sure I phrase this question correctly.
Phrasing. Okay. I will ask you to rephrase it if it's too broad.
I mean, we could just literally ask, does this game take place in hell, and just be like, oh, yep, then it's Doom.
At
Oh,
that
you might as
point,
well-
you might as well just ask.
Yes,
That's
Doom.
true. Is it Doom?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Nice. Doom,
wasn't so
for
bad.
reference, came out in 1993. It also came out on the Super Nintendo,
Yes.
which is
It
why that
did?
question
Yes, it did.
was a little bit
Really?
Yep.
difficult for me to answer because it technically
did.
did come out on the Super Nintendo, but it was not originally on the Super
Yeah.
Nintendo.
I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
thought that was a
that's
PC thing.
That's how I got introduced to it. Was
And it also was on every other console you mentioned as well. As a port.
N64. It was an
Still
Xbox.
on consoles now. It's
Still
on Xbox
PC.
One.
I still gotta play. I have the BFG edition, and it's like I should play it, but at the same time,
It's so old. It's difficult to play.
Sure.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
All right.
That was a good one.
That was good. Thank you, Curtis, for that.
no problem.
Arkham Watch. Clegg, is it playable yet?
No, not for me. But they haven't put out a
not.
huge patch, so
No, it's still down.
I watched.
I'll let you know.
I watched the Jim Quisition. Like I've been watching Jim Sterling a little bit more, and apparently he got some flack for only reviewing the PC version, and it's like,
Yeah.
and so maybe maybe you guys can correct me. Is it wrong for like journalistic integrity if you're going to review a game that yes, it's crap, though it's technically like this version is crap and they're still working on this? I should probably also review the PS4 and Xbox version.
Here's the
It's a
issue with
hard
this.
question.
He's an independent journalist,
Yeah.
meaning he pays for every game he gets. So it's, in my opinion, it's not his fault. He happened to pick the PC version because it's easier to record on, and it wasn't working. And he reviewed it. He said it was a PC review. I mean, I
Right.
don't.
I think it's important that you cite which version of the game you are running for sure. But I think really the blame for a situation like that goes completely on the game
Oh
developer.
yeah.
All the games you release on all platforms should function similarly, if not equally, right?
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
should not be this huge disparity between the three different versions you put out.
Or at
So
least in, frame rate and such like that.
Yeah.
right. I mean, in just general performance, if you have minimum system requirements, the game should function just fine on those settings. If they don't, that's your fault, right? So I don't think you can blame the developer for not putting out $180 to buy all three versions of a game to try it on all three systems. That seems a little
It
ridiculous.
does. Okay. All right. Just didn't know if it was me or not. It's like, you should probably review at least
If
one of the others.
if it's a bigger company, I think it is their,
Yeah.
duty to do that because a lot of times they get free copies of it. But
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, he's somebody who buys his own stuff to review it. I can't fault him for
Yeah.
that.
That's true.
So, something they did do, which I like, is that not only have they suspended all sales of the PC version on marketplaces like Steam and Good Old Gaming, they've also suspended purchase of DLC. Did we talk
Mhm.
about that last time?
No, we
I don't
kind
know.
of like we said the season pass I think was still available, but we haven't talked about DLC.
Yeah.
Right. I think they took that off as well because if you don't
Mhm.
own the base game, you shouldn't be able to buy the DLC for it
Yeah.
because the game doesn't work anyway, right? So I think that's a
Mhm.
good thing. You might as well just pull it all and not try to uh, pinch pennies and get a little extra money for a broken
All right.
game.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. All right. We'll have one more thing to talk about, but first, thank you guys very much for listening or watching. Whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on a podcast, thank you very much for making us a part of your day. Check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/thatnewshowshow. You can follow me on Twitter @ChaseBunker, or you can follow the show on Twitter @that_game_show. Check us out at Tampa Bay Comic Con, July 31st at 5:30. Check out all the other all the other episodes I've done, all the other interviews. But also, when you're at Comic Con, check out all the other panels, check out a bunch of the stores, a bunch of artists that are really, really, really cool stuff, and we'll definitely see you there. This weekend had a very sombering, hopefully I use that term correctly, ending when we found out that Satoru Iwata passed away at the age of 55 due to a bile duct growth. He was the president of Nintendo, and it's sad to hear because when you've grown up with gaming, especially with all of us playing Nintendo at one point or another, and to see a legend like him pass away, it definitely does bring like a little bit of a shock to your system. He helped create one of the best-selling handhelds I've ever seen, and I think gaming's ever seen in years in the 3DS. He helped revolutionize gaming with the Nintendo Wii, and he fell into our hearts by asking the one simple question or one statement, I should say, of we would like to play. So, normally in these type of scenarios, I will say goodbye, but instead, I'm just going to say thank you, Mr. Iwata. Thoughts and prayers are with his family. Have a great rest of your day, guys.